fall's coming in. Any trips or anything?
Well, Blake's got a trip tomorrow.
Yeah.
Blake's going to
today.
Pole Top
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Pole Top Rescue.
Yeah.
Just going down in the morning?
Nah, we just going down tonight, stay the night.
Nice.
And, yeah.
Who's going with you? I never even...
Cameron's the second one.
Okay.
My family's coming with me, too.
Nice.
But, yeah.
We had planned on trying to go.
Oh, yeah.
It's not gonna work out this week.
Yeah.
It's a busy week.
Yeah.
Be there to support you.
It's exciting, though.
Yeah, it is
Oh, yeah.
exciting.
Have you ever done it before?
What, the competition?
The competition.
No,
Okay.
no, this will be the first time.
All right.
Well, we do it down there in May.
Yeah.
Just to get certified.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the last time I've done it, too.
That's just an in-house thing, though.
Yeah.
So we're around everybody we know every day. So.
Yeah,
Right.
not around.
I enjoy watching that though.
people.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Watching especially in the competitive
Yeah.
side too.
Yeah.
It's kind of
It
neat
is
to see that.
fun. Just to watch everybody do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
But like you said, the guys in the western part of the state climb every day.
Yeah.
I mean, when we went to the mountains, we climbed
Every day.
every day, all day.
Welcome to Behind the Lines, our second episode. Last month we had our CEO Eddie Odom joined us along with Bianca Stumpf, our newest board member, and we kind of talked about Co-op 101, some dynamics of the co-op, and we're following that up today by kind of diving into the operations side of the co-op. We're super excited to have two of our linemen with us today, Blake Stevens and Jason Boyd. Blake, you've been with us for 3 years.
Yeah, right at.
And Jason, 2.5.
Yeah.
You both have some experience on the contractor side coming into the co-op. And Blake, you work with Lee on the underground side, and then Jason, you worked with Lewis Tree and Lee Electric coming in, but you also have the volunteer fireman experience, which is really cool. I think oftentimes people, when they think linemen, they think outages, right? So
Yeah.
like that hurricane coming in, the ice storm, or going out in the middle of the night and restoring power. So, the first question, and Blake, I'll throw this out to you. When you get that outage call in the middle of the night, kind of talk us through, that process. Going from your warm bed to in a bucket, an hour later restoring power.
Yeah, it's it just depends on where it's at and what it is, which most of the time you don't know what it is till you get there. They just call you and tell you how many meters you got out and what the pull number is. But yeah, you just get up, get dressed, and hit the road. Try to wake up while you're driving down the road. When you get there, in the middle of the night, it's kind of hard to see what you got, so you got to get out of the truck and spotlight it and find the problem. In the middle of the night, there's usually no telling what you're going to run into. But you get there and you assess the problem and find the best solution on how to fix it in the middle of the night. When you get the call, though, you could have been asleep for 30 minutes and then wake up and you're like, time to go. But
And sometimes, after hours, there's a little delay too, because obviously you're at home, or it might not even be the middle of the night. You might have just gotten home and be sitting down to eat dinner with your family, right,
Yeah.
Jason? And then, get a call and have to kind of run out. So, from your perspective, what's because you might be playing with the kids or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it depends on if you're on call or, you get called back in from the on-call people for a broke pole. Obviously broke poles take longer. First, you got to figure out that you do have a broke pole, and then you got to call more people in to come in, load the pole up, get the material, and then go to the job site. It could be 5 minutes away. It could be 40 minutes away. It just takes time. Just getting everybody to the truck, to the office to do the work, to load up, and then getting to the job. Starting the process of the pre-job, of doing everything safely so everybody can make it home at the end of the day, but also turn the lights back on.
That's right. So. And we typically have crews on call. So,
Yes.
you'll have two people on call, but then sometimes the two people can handle it.
yeah,
Then you get out there in a broken pole and you've got to get on the phone like,
Yeah.
we're going to need a little bit of help. And so then you've got more people coming in from that might have been tied up at something different. So,
And some people live 45 minutes away. Some people live 5 minutes away.
that's right.
And it just depends on who can come in that day and who can't.
Respond as quick as possible, right?
Yeah,
And that's the
most
goal,
of the
get the lights
time
back on.
Yeah, most of the time
That's
it's
it.
throw clothes on and run out the door. But,
Yeah.
trying to be as fast as possible.
So thinking about that, shortly after I started, we had a really early morning car accident that took out a couple of poles, some line. It was much bigger than just so. Talk us through, like, if you got that call and you had to go and assess that, like, how many people does it take to put all that back together, and who do you have to call, and what equipment do you have to bring in? And I mean, that's a much bigger scenario.
Right. So if it's something extremely big, we usually call in the contractors because, we have, 15 linemen now?
Yeah, I think so.
And during a regular morning, we still have to have people to run other small outages and do, this and that. So if it's anything real big, we'd call a contractor in. But most of our, 3-phase single circuit stuff we'll do ourselves. But yeah, you got to get there, and I mean, one person's got to figure out what you got. Usually it's the two people on call.
Right.
We'll figure out what they have, and they just start making phone calls. And we all work together really good now. You just call us and figure out what we need. We load it up and head out there. We're all getting along real well. And
So whether you're on call or not, you could get called in
Oh, yeah.
depending on
absolutely.
we're always on
time.
call. It's
Always.
it's not, we have our call week, but we're always on call. It's
And I think the magic number is, like, if you get over about 4 outages, the on-call guys get over 4, they start calling in more help. To
Right.
get on another 2 more people get on a service truck. Being our system is so big, you could be working in Siler City and then get a call in Spout Springs or, that side of the system. You still got to get these lights on down here versus, so you're going to call in more help to send the truck down here to try to keep them, the time frame down of the power being out.
Right.
And in the end, it still depends on what caused the outage. Is it a broke pole or is it just a squirrel in a transformer, to
Right.
knock the line out? So.
And I do think people forget sometimes how big our service territory is,
Yes.
and how spread out and rural it is.
Yeah.
And so finding the problem sometimes takes
Yeah.
a little while as well.
because we don't have access to all of our right of ways. So a lot of it's walking. I mean, we do a lot of walking with a spotlight in the middle of the night, trying to find, the problem. And a lot of times it's a little tiny limb laying on it, and it's hard to see in the middle of the night, and you shine a light on it. So it takes time to figure out the problem.
When
for
you have an
sure.
outage, you have to ride the line out too.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, every
yeah.
bit of it, because, a lot of people say, well, here's the problem, but we still ride the line out because, that may have been the problem, but something else could have fell on down the line, and, if the wire's on the ground, that wouldn't be a good thing for us just to heat it back up. So we ride the whole line out every time just to make sure.
And sometimes it's really obvious, like the pole's
Yeah,
broken
yeah.
or the
Yeah.
line's
Oh,
on
yeah.
the ground, but then it might not be near as obvious, and you have to ride that line out. I mean, it's safety too.
Oh, yeah.
So safety
Yeah.
for, not only you all, but safety for the community and our members, and to make sure that there's not something out there to ride it all the way through, just to
Yep.
make sure that
Oh, yeah.
get it done correctly for sure.
And of course, if we can ride it in a pickup, it's a lot faster. But we also run into a lot of gates that doesn't have our locks on them. We try not to just cut chains to get on somebody's property. So that's why we try to put locks on most gates. But if we ain't no lock, we got to walk it. So that takes time too.
That's
it
where the
could be-
dispatch team comes in
Yeah,
too.
it could be one span or it could be 15 spans. So it's just a matter of how fast you can get it done, or with a pickup or with your feet, one of the two.
Yeah, I had one yesterday morning. Got an outage. Went to the house number they gave me. Found the tree limb laying on it. Well, then I typed on my iPad where to get to the fuse at, which was through the woods. But it took me 15 minutes to drive my truck from the house all the way back around to where the fuse was behind some chicken houses. So, I mean, there's a lot to it. And then you got to the other side and you still got to walk all through the woods just to make sure that the wire's up and everything. But a 15-minute ride and I think there was probably 7-8 spans on it, but it took me 15 minutes to get back to the fuse. It's just time consuming.
And those are little things I don't think any of us who don't do this on a regular basis, we just don't think about all those little things that add up. You know, just like you said, well, I see the tree limb, so just take it off and fix it and turn it back on. But it's not that simple.
No, if we're going to do it the safe way, you got to write it all out.
Yeah.
You know, one thing you talked about, the different kinds of outages. One that really has stuck in my mind is a couple months ago. Both of you were out there right outside of Pittsburgh, Holly Ridge Road. You talk about different situations, right?
Yeah.
We get out there, and it was just a brief little windstorm that came through, but it pushed a massive tree over. And it wasn't just a tree. It fell from well outside the right of way into a creek.
Yeah.
Okay, so it pulled the line down, broke three poles.
Yeah.
One tree broke 3 poles.
3 poles. In a creek.
Yeah.
So,
while it was raining.
Yeah.
So it was.
But you know, one of the, and I think that's what, you know, the pictures that make the most impact is seeing stuff like that on social media. But you know, 2 parts of this is it's so impressive. You know, when you first get on a scene like that and everyone's trying to assess what's going on.
Yeah.
But then you come together. And like, okay, you know, here's the game plan, and then from there, everyone kind of goes in a different direction, but you're all working together.
Oh yeah.
You know, everyone's doing something. You're preparing the pole, or Jason, you were in the bucket. It's like watching poetry in motion is the way I kind of, because that night there were so many people out there, but everyone was working together and doing something specific to get the power back on.
Right.
But you know, sometimes those are the easiest ones to see, but then you mentioned some of the ones that aren't near as obvious. They're not this huge tree and these broken poles. So what are some things, you know, you might have seen, something like the most interesting thing you've seen that kind of caused an outage that wasn't like super obvious?
Well, we talked about it earlier. A piece of pine straw. I mean, it ain't that big.
A single piece of pine straw. I mean, look how much falls in a day's time. You know, people buy it, put it in their yards, around their bushes. But one single piece of pine straw can
sitting on top of a transformer, shorting itself out.
Will not allow.
The wind blew it and just hit the right things, right?
Perfect.
Yep, and it got hung up in the right spot, and they will not line out.
The other day, last Sunday night, little tiny stick sitting on a cross arm. It had it had 200 something people out.
Yeah, but it was nighttime. It was down in the right of way.
Even shining your light on it, you couldn't see.
You're trying to shine a light. You know, we was in the process. It just took longer than we wanted to, but it was nighttime. Nighttime, it's harder than nighttime. You can't see. You know, you're working off of a beam of a light, and we finally found it. But you know, it caused pretty big outage for a little longer than what we wanted to, but. And you know, people called in, to see what was going on, which I understand. The lights is out, but also you gotta realize, working at night, it does slow the process down. So
a lot.
We're working. Call those blue sky outages.
Yeah.
So you know, it's super easy. If a hurricane's coming in, you expect outages, but sometimes if it's just a beautiful day out, and not really expecting one, and the power goes out, sometimes like, what in the world? You're right.
Yeah.
Could have been. We have radios in our offices that kind of keep, understand kind of what's going on out in the field, and like a snake crawling up a pole.
Yeah, and sitting on top of a transformer.
Yeah, or we have squirrel guards on the system to try and, hedge some of these off at squirrels. I mean, there's so many things that, the system being out in the open like that can cause so many different outages.
Yeah, we've had birds, little tiny birds, they'll knock it out. I had one guy was like, there's no way that bird took it out. I was like, oh yeah, it did. He's laying right there. Good thing about squirrels and birds and stuff, they're always laying at the bottom of the pole. So when you get there, you're like, well, that was the problem. Yep. So now we can,
But even, we were talking earlier, even squirrel guards and things like that, a snake's going to get in.
Yeah.
They can get past
that.
Yeah,
they're still going to climb. You see them running, they'll run down the line. Going to the next tree, but it's just a matter of what they touch.
Right.
If they touch the right thing, it's gonna knock it out.
Yeah.
And squirrels can still hop on, even with the squirrel guard, they can hop up on the copper and bend it down. That's
right.
There's no fighting against it. It's gonna happen.
Right. And again, we have a very rural system, so there are long stretches that are through the woods, and that's where they live. So.
Yeah, you can have 17 poles to feed one house. It's
right.
It's
So when you mentioned hurricanes and people, when that's coming your way, you guys gear up and you know what we have to do to protect our system and to be ready. But last fall, Hurricane Helene, thankfully we were not extremely affected, but the western part of our state was. And one of the guiding principles for cooperatives is our belief and our principle in the cooperation among cooperatives or mutual aid. We help each other out
Yes.
when we can. And both of you were on a crew that was sent from Central to help out in Western North Carolina, which is what we do. And people do that for us when we need it. But tell us a little bit about what that was like, how long you were gone, what you did, where you worked, kind of about that experience.
Well, like the first part, we started out, we left here, went to Energy United, then we got most of them on, and they sent us to Blue Ridge and what was that county?
Allegheny County.
Yeah, Allegheny County.
And Sparta.
Sparta, North Carolina. Then when we got there, because we didn't go straight like to the river where the water got up.
Right.
We worked like on the mountain. It looked like a windstorm. And then, but as we got those on, we started working to the river where the most damage was. Where the houses was washed away, the poles and the wires was gone, and it was just a totally rebuild. But no, for the most of it though, like the start of it, like people was obviously glad to see us, like very nice. Hey, do you need anything? And I mean that's the way it was the whole time. But as we got down to the rivers, we really seen the devastation of the just the blocks, from where the houses was. When they was rebuilding the line to try to get most of the houses on that was still there. But it was sad to see, but we was there to do a job, and that's what we did, and got everybody back on that we could, and we stayed until they told us that, all right, that was it, and you can go home now. So
How long was that? Do you remember?
It was right at 3 weeks, I think.
yeah, right at 3 weeks.
So when you do something like that, where do you stay and who feeds you? And
The co-op makes sure that we're fed, and they had a rule in Blue Ridge which was real nice. We were back at the co-op at 8 o'clock in the afternoon because they knew it was a long-term outage, that there was no way we could continue to work through the night like we were. So we'd come in and eat, and then they had a little motel there in Sparta, which it was slam full of nothing but linemen.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm sure they were probably from all over the country.
they were. Energy United, we met a bunch of people from up north and stuff. It was cool
Ohio.
seeing them. Yeah, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, we met them from all around.
Are there others? Have you worked other storms like that where you've gone?
Not
help?
here,
Yeah,
but
not here.
as a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, contracting, yes. But
You were with Lewis for a while too.
yeah, right at well over 7 years.
So worked some storms on the
Yeah, well,
on the-
I mean, I
on the
worked
tree
around here.
side.
I didn't travel with
Yeah.
Lewis now. When I was at Lee Electric, I traveled a lot. I think I was out of town more the first 6 months when I was in town, which is fine. But that's where the money's at.
And you have to tackle those outages a little differently too, because you mentioned working until 8 p.m. But if it's extended like that, that was a long term game plan. Sometimes we get into those outages that are 24 hours, 36. We're working straight through, and that's all hands on deck.
That's right.
Dispatchers, member services, everyone, and then each one is different.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on obviously Helene. Our hearts still go out to that area. There's massive devastation and destruction through there, and that took a long time. But even some of those smaller storms, Hurricane Matthew here, it was 4 or 5 days, and you have to have a game plan because obviously, you all and everyone can't work for 5 days straight. So figuring out how to balance that out. Some working at night, some working during the day. So there's strategy behind it too, for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, up there though, it wasn't like restoration. It wasn't putting stuff back up. It was a complete rebuild. It was new construction pretty much. There was nothing left.
I remember I was at a conference recently and Blue Ridge did a presentation and they were talking about the number of poles that they still have not located.
Oh, yeah.
They're just gone.
Oh, yeah.
And the ground that they were on is gone and they won't be able to put them back. Their system will have to look different because the landscape is different.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a
Absolutely.
really interesting long-term recovery.
Yeah, they had us put power back. There was a pole, and the house had washed. The neighbor's house had washed out, and it was leaning on the pole. And they were like, "Well, we can at least give them power back until they
Wow.
figure out how to get the house off
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the pole there."
Are there other stories, like things from your time that you've worked that are memorable to you, whether it's, the time you worked there, things you've done here, just particular stories that you think are
Uh,
important to you or memorable?
I think we just go out and working for 2 days straight isn't always the funnest thing to do, but we always look at it as we have a good time.
Yeah.
Get the work done. We enjoy watching the lights turn back on, so. We usually try to keep each other in good spirits because, it's easy to get down whenever you're tired, you're soaking wet, you
Right.
ain't had a meal in 2 days, you're still going. But we keep everybody in good
Oh yeah.
spirits,
Yeah.
keep each other up.
Seeing those lights come back on is a rewarding thing too,
Oh,
especially.
that's the end goal.
Right.
That's what we signed up for
Oh,
when
yeah.
you come to work here. So that is the goal.
Taking
So
care of the member and
that's it.
getting those lights back on. And
That's it.
Connie and I work on the communication side, so we see a different side of it, and we have the opportunity to go, and we're all the ones taking pictures and
Oh, yeah.
posting them on there, and so. But on that same token, we get to see some of the comments that come
Right.
back in. The appreciation from
Yeah.
from members and people in the community who appreciate so much what you all do, and we are very appreciative of what you two do, and the entire operations department, everyone who's involved in that outage restoration. But kind of jotted down a few comments that we've gotten on social media and Google. One member service rep shared this a few weeks ago. It was a member on Blue Sky Road in Sanford. Said, a fallen tree across Copeland Road took the power lines down and snapped the pole in half. And your whole team showed up in minimum time and rectified the issue. I marveled at the process and how soon the power is restored. Things like that kind of make you, when you're in
Yeah.
the
oh, yeah,
ice and the
for sure.
snow
Yeah.
and different things like that, brings it in perspective that there's people that are out there depending on
Right.
on everyone, and so that's a very rewarding thing, I can imagine. And we talked about Helene. We even got comments back from people in Asheville from Helene, from the work you guys were doing there. You mentioned Allegheny County. There was someone who commented on our Google page that, thank you, Central Electric. 3 hours from home,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that green ball and that Central Electric truck was out there. And thank you for restoring power here in Allegheny County. Your crews, worked hard after driving 3-4 hours. We've been in the dark for 7 days. Just kind of emphasizing how the devastation there. Your crews spliced the lines and restrung them in 2 hours. The appreciation,
Right.
and kind of to bring things full circle and starting to transition is, we're very thankful for the two of you for not only coming here and sharing some of the stories today. I think that'll be really neat for people to hear kind of that perspective, and
yeah.
thank you for what you do, and thank you for sharing some of that today. I think we could have a whole follow-up podcast on, we've talked a lot about outages and what you do to restore outages, but there's so much more that you do on a daily basis too. You work on the overhead crew or underground or a service bucket, and we were just talking about changing out meters and replacing security lights if a security light goes out. So it's so much bigger than just that. But I think the biggest thing people always kind of notice is we keep the lights on and we get them back on when they go out.
Yeah.
And we also, our territory is growing so much. We have a lot of
It is.
growth and new houses and new construction. And, we have to figure that out
The
also.
subdivisions. I mean, it's
Right. One thing before we close, I was thinking about, there are a lot of young people who are thinking about what they want to do. If people are considering a career in this and would like to be a lineman and are thinking about going to lineman school, what would you say? What would you say to those folks? What are the best parts of your job, or why should they consider a job in?
it's
Yes.
a rewarding career. It's it's like it's a brotherhood. I mean, pretty much we all have each other's backs when we're out there. It is a good career to get into. You learn a lot. You learn something every day. You know, you meet a lot of linemen that think they might know it all, but you're gonna learn something new every day. There's no way one person knows it all.
Right.
I think that's the best part about it is you do learn every day.
Keeps it interesting.
Mm-hmm. You
It
never
does.
know what you're gonna run into. That's the
That's
biggest
true.
part about
That's
this
very true.
job.
Changes every day, huh?
It
Yep.
does. It does.
Changes with the weather, right?
Very much so.
Literally.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
But you know, to kind of close us out, have a challenge for our viewers now. You know, if maybe you're listening to us on YouTube or see us clip on social, we want to hear some of your stories. Maybe you've seen something from an outage restoration. You've heard Blake and Jason kind of mention some stories today. We'd love to hear those stories from our members and from the community, and you know, the appreciation. We have channels inside. We share that with the group, the operations group, and it means a lot. But it means a lot to us working out there, working to get the lights back on. So I think the last thing I'll kind of sign off on is, remember when the lights go out, there's people out there working. As soon as it goes out, Jason and Blake are, you know, rounding the crews up and heading out to figure out what's going on and determine kind of what needs to happen to get those lights back on. And so, you know, we're super appreciative of both of you working so hard when the lights do go out and keeping them on during the day when the lights, you know, are on, all the maintenance and everything. So again, thank you. And just until next time, signing off from Behind the Lines with Connie, Blake, and Jason. Stay safe out there.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.